Most people walk past pennies every day without a second thought. But what if I told you that one small brown coin from 1955, with a tiny letter under the date, could be worth hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars today? And the strangest part is, most owners don't even realize what they have. Today, we're exploring the 1955 Lincoln penny, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance but carries a story of American history, post-war optimism, and hidden value that continues to surprise collectors more than half a century later. The 1955 Lincoln cent was minted in Denver and features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front. It's part of the famous Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. These pennies were everyday pocket change for millions of Americans, used to buy candy, newspapers, and soda from corner stores. But over time, certain years and mint marks became far more desirable than anyone could have imagined. In 1955, the United States was in a powerful moment of growth. The country had emerged from World War II as a global leader. Suburbs were expanding. Families were buying cars and televisions. Factories were booming. And the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins to keep up with a fast-moving economy. That year, Lincoln cents were struck at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Denver Mint marked its coins with a small D beneath the date on the front of the coin. These coins were made for daily use, not for collectors. No one expected that decades later, people would carefully examine them under magnifying glasses, searching for details that could change their financial value. The design of the 1955 penny is simple, classic, and iconic. On the front, you see Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the words "In God We Trust" across the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date with the small D mint mark below it. On the back, you see 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above. The coin is made mostly of copper, about 95% copper, with small amounts of zinc and tin. It weighs just over 3 grams and is about the size of your thumbnail. But despite its humble materials, this coin carries serious historical and collector value. Now, when most people hear about 1955 pennies, they immediately think of the famous 1955 double die error from the Philadelphia Mint, one of the most legendary error coins in American history. But the 1955 penny has its own story. It may not be famous for dramatic errors, but it stands out for its condition rarity and collector demand. The Denver Mint produced more than 560 million pennies in 1955. That sounds like a massive number, and it is. But here's the twist. Most of those coins entered circulation immediately and were heavily used. Pennies were the workhorses of daily commerce. They were handled constantly, dropped on sidewalks, tossed into drawers, and stored in jars. Very few were saved in pristine condition. Because of this, while worn 1955 pennies are common, high-grade examples, coins that look nearly new, are surprisingly scarce. And that's where value starts to climb sharply. Collectors grade coins on a scale based on how well they've been preserved. A heavily worn coin with faded details might be worth only a few cents. But a sharp, clean 1955 penny with full original luster, no major marks, and strong detail can be worth hundreds of dollars or more. In some cases, top-condition examples have sold for over $1,000 at auction, not because they're rare in total numbers, but because they're rare in that level of preservation. That's what makes this coin fascinating. It's not about rarity in quantity, it's about rarity in condition. Let's talk about what makes a high-quality 1955 penny stand out. First, the color matters. Copper coins naturally change over time. A freshly minted penny has a bright reddish color. Over decades, exposure to air and moisture darkens the surface into brown tones. Collectors prefer coins that still retain their original red or red-brown color, which signals minimal handling and storage in controlled environments. Second, sharpness of detail is critical. On the front, look at Lincoln's hair, cheekbone, jawline, and coat. On the back, check the wheat stalks and lettering. A high-grade coin will show crisp lines and minimal wear. Third, surface condition is key. Scratches, dents, stains, or cleaning marks can significantly reduce value. Ironically, cleaning a coin, even gently, can damage its surface and make it worth less than before. Now let's talk about value. In circulated condition, most 1955 D pennies are worth between 3 and 25 cents, slightly above face value due to copper content and collector interest. But once you reach uncirculated condition, prices rise dramatically. A 1955 D penny graded MS63, meaning mint state with moderate marks, may sell for $15 to $30. At MS65, values can jump to $100 or more. And in top-tier grades like MS67 or higher, auction results have reached $800, $1,200, and sometimes even more, depending on eye appeal and demand. These are real numbers from real collectors, people willing to pay serious money for a coin that once bought a piece of gum. What makes this especially exciting is that many of these coins still exist in old collections, inherited coin jars, desk drawers, and forgotten rolls. Unlike ultra-rare coins that were scarce from the moment they were made, the 1955 D penny started out as common. That means there's always a chance one could still be sitting unnoticed somewhere. Now let's talk about how to identify a genuine 1955 D Lincoln penny. Start with the date. Look for 1955 on the front. Then check just below the date for a small D that confirms it was struck at the Denver Mint. Next, weigh the coin if you can. A real copper 1955 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. Slight variation is normal, but anything far off could indicate damage or alteration. Then examine the design details. The lettering should be sharp, evenly spaced, and aligned correctly. The wheat stalks on the back should look balanced and symmetrical. Blurry or uneven details may suggest a counterfeit or damaged coin. Also, pay attention to the surface. A genuine coin should show natural aging patterns. If the coin looks unusually shiny or has strange texture, it may have been cleaned or altered, which lowers value. If you believe you have a high-grade example, professional grading is often worth considering. Third-party grading services authenticate the coin and assign an official grade, which can dramatically increase buyer confidence and market value. Now, let's explore some surprising facts about the 1955 D penny. Even though over 500 million were minted, the Denver Mint that year struggled with die wear, meaning some coins came out with softer details than expected. This makes sharp, well-struck examples even more desirable. Another interesting detail is that 1955 was near the end of the wheat penny era. Just 3 years later, in 1958, the wheat design would be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. That gives coins like the 1955 D a nostalgic place in American coin history, part of the final chapter of a design that spanned nearly 50 years. There's also the emotional factor. Many people alive today remember using wheat pennies as children. They connect these coins to simpler times, school lunches, soda machines, and paper routes. That nostalgia adds to collector demand in ways that numbers alone can't explain. Now let's address a common myth. Some online posts claim that all 1955 D pennies are rare and worth thousands of dollars. That's not true. Most are worth only modest amounts. But what is true is that certain examples, especially those in top condition, can be worth far more than anyone expects from a 1-cent coin. This is what makes coin collecting so fascinating. Value doesn't always come from age alone. It comes from history, condition, survival rates, and human demand. Let's talk about mistakes collectors often make with coins like this. One of the biggest mistakes is cleaning. Even a soft cloth can leave microscopic scratches that reduce value. A cleaned coin may look brighter, but collectors prefer natural surfaces. Once cleaned, a coin can lose a large percentage of its potential worth. Another mistake is improper storage. Coins stored loose in drawers or jars rub against each other, causing wear. Moisture exposure can lead to corrosion. High-grade coins should be stored in protective holders in dry environments. A third mistake is selling too quickly without proper evaluation. Some people sell coins at face value or scrap price without realizing collector demand exists. Taking a few minutes to research can make a major difference. Now let's explore why collectors love the 1955 Lincoln penny today. First, it's affordable compared to ultra-rare coins. While some rare pennies sell for hundreds of thousands or even millions, the 1955 penny offers an entry point into high-quality numismatics without requiring massive budgets. Collectors can hunt for upgrades, search rolls, attend coin shows, and slowly build better examples. Second, it represents American history in a tangible form. Holding this coin is like holding a piece of 1950s America, the era of drive-in theaters, suburban expansion, and post-war optimism. Every coin carries invisible fingerprints of the people who used it. Third, it offers discovery potential. Because these coins were produced in large numbers and circulated widely, there's always the chance of finding an unusually well-preserved example in an old collection or inherited box. That sense of possibility keeps collectors searching. Fourth, it connects to the broader Lincoln Cent series, one of the most collected coin series in U.S. history. Millions of Americans have assembled penny albums, filling in dates and mint marks. The 1955 is a key part of completing that story. Now let's look at real-world collector examples. In one major auction, a 1955 penny graded MS67 red sold for over $1,000, not because of errors, not because of rarity in production, but because of exceptional preservation. The coin looked almost exactly as it did when it left the mint in 1955. In another sale, a roll of uncirculated 1955 pennies stored away decades earlier sold for several $1,000s, as individual coins were graded and sold separately. What started as $1 face value became a four-figure return simply because someone saved them and forgot about them. These stories aren't about luck, they're about awareness. Now imagine this scenario. You open an old drawer. Inside is a small jar of pennies from your childhood home. Most are modern, but one stands out darker, heavier, older. You flip it over. The date reads 1955. Beneath it is a tiny letter D. Suddenly, something ordinary feels different. This moment, that pause of curiosity, is what drives collectors. Not just the money, but the mystery, the question of what something might be worth, the story behind where it's been. That's the true power of coins like the 1955 Lincoln penny. They turn everyday objects into historical artifacts. They remind us that value is sometimes hidden in plain sight. Before we wrap up, here's something surprising. Even low-grade 1955 pennies are becoming harder to find in circulation today. With copper prices rising and collectors pulling older coins from circulation, fewer wheat pennies remain in everyday change. Each year, the odds of finding one in the wild decrease. That means future collectors may look back at today's common wheat cents as increasingly scarce relics, not because they were rare at birth, but because time quietly erased them from daily life. So what should you do if you think you have a 1955 penny? First, don't clean it. Second, examine it carefully under good lighting. Third, compare it to images of graded examples online. Fourth, consider having it evaluated by a reputable coin dealer or grading service, especially if it appears uncirculated or unusually sharp. And finally, remember that even if your coin isn't worth hundreds, it still holds historical value. It's a physical piece of America's past, something no stock certificate or digital asset can replicate. The 1955 Lincoln penny teaches us something important. Not everything valuable looks valuable at first glance. Sometimes the most meaningful treasures are the ones we've overlooked for years. So the next time you see a penny on the ground, don't walk past it. Pick it up. Look at the date. Look for that tiny mint mark. Because one small coin, struck nearly 70 years ago, might just surprise you, not only with its value, but with its story. And that's what makes coin collecting more than a hobby. It makes it a journey through time, hidden in the smallest details. Imagine holding a tiny piece of history in the palm of your hand, a coin that millions of Americans passed by every day, yet one that could secretly be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. The 1956 Lincoln penny is one of those coins. At first glance, it looks ordinary, just a copper penny with Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile. But for collectors and enthusiasts, this small coin holds stories, mysteries, and a special value that has captured attention for decades. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1956 Lincoln penny, uncovering its history, its unique traits, and why it remains one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatics. The 1956 Lincoln penny is part of the long-running series of Lincoln cents, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Unlike most pennies in circulation today, the 1956 was struck in Denver, as indicated by the small D mint mark just below the date on the front of the coin. This mint mark tells a story all its own, pointing to the Denver Mint, one of the busiest coin-producing facilities in the country, responsible for millions of pennies each year. While hundreds of millions of pennies were produced in 1956, a few rare versions stand out for collectors due to their condition, minting quirks, and historical context. The year 1956 sits in a fascinating period in American history. The country was experiencing post-war growth, suburbs were expanding, and the economy was strong. Coins like the Lincoln penny were a constant presence in daily life, passed from hand to hand in stores, buses, and mailboxes. But behind this everyday coin was a story of careful design and craftsmanship. The Lincoln penny had already seen nearly 5 decades of circulation, and yet each year's coins were subtly different. In 1956, the penny maintained the classic design created by Victor David Brenner, featuring Lincoln's profile on the front, and on the reverse, the familiar wheat ears framing the words 1 cent. This design, called the wheat cent, had been in use since 1909 and would remain until 1958. What makes the 1956 penny stand out among its peers? First, the metal composition. Like most pennies of its era, it was made primarily of copper, about 95%, with the remaining 5% consisting of tin and zinc. This gives the coin its familiar reddish-brown color, though decades of circulation often dull that shine. Unlike modern pennies, which are mostly zinc with a thin copper coating, these older pennies have a solid copper core, which affects both their weight and how they age. But beyond the metal, collectors look for other unique features. Some 1956 pennies show slight variations in the strike, including double dies or minor die cracks. These subtle minting errors can make a particular coin far more valuable, as collectors prize imperfections that tell a story of the coin's journey from mint to pocket. The rarity and value of the 1956 Lincoln penny are closely tied to its condition and any anomalies it may have. Most circulated pennies from this year are common, often worth just a few cents over face value. But a coin that has survived decades in pristine condition, what collectors call mint state, can command hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Coins graded by professional services, showing no wear, strong luster, and clear details, attract serious buyers at auctions and in private sales. In some rare cases, coins with dramatic errors or unusual features have sold for figures far beyond what anyone would expect for a penny. There are several documented examples that illustrate this value. In past auctions, high-grade 1956 pennies in near-perfect condition have sold for several $100s, and those with exceptional minting errors or pristine uncirculated surfaces have reached prices exceeding $1,000. Even minor die variations, when verified by experts, can spark competitive bidding, with collectors willing to pay a premium for a piece that is both historically significant and visually striking. These sales demonstrate that while the 1956 D penny may seem ordinary, it can be extraordinary in the right circumstances. For anyone hoping to find one of these valuable pennies, identification is key. A real 1956 D penny has the D mint mark located just below the date. Its weight, color, and details should match the known specifications. About 3.11 grams in weight, 19 millimeters in diameter, and a copper surface that shows the natural wear of its age unless it has been preserved exceptionally well. Fakes or altered coins are rare but do exist, often created by adding a mint mark to a coin that originally lacked one. Examining the coin under good lighting, using magnification, and comparing it to authenticated examples are essential steps. For serious collectors, sending the coin to a professional grading service ensures authenticity and can even increase the coin's value. Beyond its value, the 1956 D Lincoln penny carries surprising details that make it a fascinating collectible. For instance, the wheat ears on the reverse, simple as they may seem, are symbols of American prosperity and growth during the mid-20th century. Lincoln's portrait, carefully sculpted by Brenner, was revolutionary in 1909 as the first realistic depiction of a historical figure on circulating U.S. coins. Over the decades, small changes in the minting process, like variations in striking pressure, die alignment, and planchet quality, created an almost infinite variety of subtle differences that collectors love to study. Each coin carries its own story, shaped by the hands and machines that brought it into existence and the pockets and purses that held it for decades. Collectors are drawn to the 1956 D Lincoln penny not just for potential financial gain, but for the sense of connection it provides to American history. Holding one is like holding a piece of the 1950s, a tangible link to a time when pennies were a staple of everyday life. The coin embodies both craftsmanship and culture, a small but enduring reminder of the people and economy of that era. It's a coin that invites curiosity, study, and appreciation. For collectors, the thrill is not only in finding a rare example, but in understanding the history and nuances of each piece. Even casual collectors and hobbyists find joy in hunting for these coins. Searching through jars of old change, rolls from the bank, or even drawers in family homes can reveal unexpected treasures. And because the 1956 D penny is relatively common compared to other rare coins, it is accessible enough to spark interest while still offering the excitement of discovery. Its story is a blend of artistry, history, and chance, a combination that keeps people fascinated year after year. As we consider the 1956 D Lincoln penny today, it becomes clear why this small coin continues to capture attention. Its modest size belies the rich narrative embedded in its metal and design. From the bustling mints of the 1950s to the hands of collectors across the country, this penny has witnessed decades of American life. Its potential value, historical significance, and subtle variations make it a coin that commands respect, study, and for some, serious investment. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone who simply enjoys the thrill of discovery, the 1956 D Lincoln penny offers a journey into the past and a chance to uncover something extraordinary among the ordinary. So next time you come across an old penny, take a moment to examine it closely. Look for the details, the mint mark, the subtle imperfections that hint at its unique history. Among the countless coins produced over the decades, the 1956 D Lincoln penny stands out as a reminder that even the smallest objects can hold stories worth telling, and perhaps even wealth waiting to be discovered. Who knows? The The next time you reach into your pocket or an old jar of coins, you might be holding more than just spare change. You could be holding a piece of history, a story of craftsmanship, and a treasure that has survived time itself. Keep looking, keep learning, and let curiosity guide your journey into the fascinating world of rare coins. This coin is more than copper and dates. It's a doorway into history, a bridge connecting the everyday with the extraordinary, and a small, shining reminder that even the humblest penny can carry a world of wonder. Imagine holding a tiny piece of history in the palm of your hand, a coin that has passed through countless pockets, drawers, and cash registers, yet still carries a story worth millions to the right collector. Today, we're uncovering the secrets of one such coin, a seemingly ordinary penny from 1970, minted in Denver, that has quietly captured the attention of collectors across the United States. What makes this small copper disc so fascinating, and why could it be worth far more than its face value? By the end of this story, you might never look at your loose change the same way again. The coin in question is the 1970 Lincoln cent, struck at the Denver Mint, and easily recognized by the familiar D Mint mark on the obverse side. At first glance, it looks like any other penny from that era. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, a warm copper tone that has dulled slightly over the decades. But for collectors, this coin is far from ordinary. It sits at a curious crossroads of history, artistry, and rare minting quirks that make it a collectible gem. The Lincoln cent, of course, has a long and storied history. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the penny replaced the Indian head cent and quickly became a staple of American currency. By 1970, the United States had already minted over 6 decades of Lincoln pennies, making the design instantly familiar to anyone who had handled cash. This was a time of cultural and political change in America, with the moon landing still fresh in memory and the Vietnam War ongoing. The penny, humble as it was, reflected a sense of continuity and tradition amidst a rapidly evolving nation. The 1970 Denver penny is made primarily of a copper alloy, containing 95% copper and 5% zinc. It weighs just under 3 grams, with a diameter of 19 millimeters. The obverse side proudly displays Lincoln's right-facing profile, sculpted by Victor David Brenner, whose work had been admired for decades. Surrounding Lincoln are the inscriptions in God We Trust, Liberty, and the date 1970, accompanied by the small but significant D mint mark, signaling its origin in Denver. The reverse side features the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of unity and reverence with the words United States of America and 1 cent arching gracefully above and below the monument. While these details seem standard, subtle variations and errors in some 1970 Denver pennies have elevated them from common currency to highly sought-after collectibles. One of the most intriguing features of the 1970 Denver penny is the so-called double die error that appears on some specimens. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by a misaligned die, creating a shadowed or doubled appearance on letters and numbers, particularly noticeable on the date and the motto in God We Trust. These errors were not intentional, yet they make certain pennies dramatically more valuable. Even a small doubling effect can turn an ordinary coin into one worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its condition and rarity. But why is this particular penny rare? The 1970 Denver cent was produced in enormous quantities. Over 1.5 billion coins were struck. The vast majority are entirely ordinary, with no errors and typical circulation wear. However, only a small fraction display the distinctive double die error, making them highly prized among collectors. Beyond doubling, other minor die variations and small production quirks, such as off-center strikes or weak impressions, can also make a coin stand out. The rarity is not just in the minting numbers, but in the survival rate of these coins in good condition. Many pennies have been spent, lost, or damaged over the past 50 years, meaning pristine examples are exceedingly rare. Real-life examples of the value of these coins are striking. In recent auctions, a 1970 Lincoln cent with a prominent double die error sold for several $1,000s, far exceeding its original 1-cent value. Even less dramatic doubling or unusual die characteristics can command hundreds of dollars in private sales or online auctions. Collectors closely watch the market, as a single find can dramatically change the perceived value of a collection. The thrill comes not only from the potential profit, but from the chance to own a piece of history that is literally 1 in a billion. For those interested in identifying a genuine 1970 Lincoln penny with a double die or other rare features, careful observation is key. Start by examining the date and inscriptions under magnification, looking for any doubling or unusual shadows on the letters. Compare the coin to verified examples, paying attention to the spacing and alignment of the design. Authentic coins will have consistent weight and color for their era, while fakes or altered coins often feel off in texture or show signs of tampering. Trusted reference books, coin grading services, and reputable dealers are invaluable resources to ensure you are handling a real collectible rather than a clever imitation. Beyond rarity and value, there are fascinating details that make the 1970 Denver penny captivating. For instance, the coin represents one of the last decades of mostly copper pennies, before the shift to zinc copper-clad coins in the 1980s. It is a physical reminder of a time when pennies were sturdy, heavy, and rich in color. Additionally, the Lincoln Memorial design, first introduced in 1959, was chosen to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth and offers a striking depiction of the monument, complete with intricate architectural details rarely appreciated at a casual glance. For those who love history, holding a 1970 penny is like holding a miniature monument, a small tribute to a figure who shaped the nation. Collectors today are drawn not just by the potential monetary value, but by the sense of connection to the past. Coins like the 1970 Lincoln cent are tangible links to a particular moment in American history. Each scratch, patina, or minor imperfection tells a story about the coin's journey through time. Owning such a penny allows collectors to participate in a shared fascination with history, art, and the thrill of discovery. For many, finding a rare variation in loose change or in a collection long forgotten is an almost magical experience, combining curiosity, patience, and the joy of uncovering something extraordinary in the everyday. Even if you are not a seasoned collector, the 1970 Denver penny invites you to look closer at the coins you pass by every day. There may be hidden treasures in jars of spare change or old family collections, waiting for someone to recognize their value. The story of this penny is a reminder that history often hides in plain sight, and that the smallest objects can hold the richest stories. A simple 1-cent coin, minted decades ago, can open a window into America's past, offer a glimpse of minting artistry, and even create life-changing opportunities for those who understand its significance. So next time you reach into your pocket and pull out a familiar penny, consider this. Somewhere among the ordinary lies the extraordinary, a coin that carries both history and possibility. The 1970 Denver Lincoln cent is more than metal. It is a key to the past, a spark for curiosity, and a reminder that sometimes the most remarkable treasures come in the smallest packages. Keep your eyes open, and who knows, perhaps your next encounter with a penny will reveal a story worth more than you ever imagined. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks ordinary, yet could be hiding thousands of dollars in plain sight. A coin so common, yet with a twist that makes it a treasure for the right collector. Today, we're diving into the story of the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that has sparked curiosity, excitement, and even amazement among coin enthusiasts and collectors across the United States. If you thought pennies were just small change, think again. This humble piece of copper might just rewrite what you think about coins. The 1982 Lincoln penny is part of a long tradition of American coinage. Known officially as the Lincoln cent, it has been in circulation since 1909, honoring Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Over the decades, this small copper coin has become one of the most collected and recognized coins in the world. But 1982 is special. This was a year of change for the penny itself, and understanding why requires a brief look at history. By the early 1980s, rising copper prices had made the traditional composition of the penny increasingly expensive. From its inception, the Lincoln cent had been made mostly of copper, but the government had begun to explore alternatives. In 1982, the U.S. Mint officially changed the composition of the penny from 95% copper and 5% zinc to 97.5% zinc with a thin copper coating. This was a practical move to save money, but it also created a rare situation. Pennies minted in 1982 came in both copper and zinc varieties. This split makes certain coins from that year especially intriguing to collectors. Now, the term "no mint mark" simply means that the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins produced in Denver or San Francisco would have a small D or S engraved to indicate their origin, but the absence of a mint mark on a 1982 penny signals it came from Philadelphia. While that may seem like a minor detail, it matters greatly to collectors. Coins without mint marks, particularly from transitional years like 1982, often attract more attention because they can be harder to distinguish between copper and zinc. The design of the 1982 penny is classic Lincoln. The obverse, or front, features a detailed portrait of Abraham Lincoln, crafted by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Lincoln's profile remains crisp and recognizable, with every coin carrying the familiar inscriptions of "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year. The reverse side of the coin displays the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of the nation's enduring respect for its 16th president. While the design itself may not be unique to 1982, the year marks a pivotal point in the penny's material history, and that is where the fascination begins. One of the most intriguing features of the 1982 Lincoln penny is its dual composition. Some coins were made entirely of copper, weighing about 3.11 grams, while others were predominantly zinc, weighing around 2.5 grams. To the casual eye, they look nearly identical, but the difference in metal can significantly affect value. Some coins also carry minor minting errors, such as weak strikes or slight off-center impressions, which can further increase collector interest. These subtle differences make identifying and valuing a 1982 penny both challenging and exciting. So why is this penny considered rare or valuable? The answer lies in its transitional nature. Because 1982 marked a shift from copper to zinc, collectors often seek out copper pennies from that year in particular. While millions of 1982 pennies were minted, the exact number of copper versus zinc coins is harder to determine, giving the copper coins a scarcity factor. In addition, the absence of a mint mark adds another layer of collectability, especially if the coin is in uncirculated or near-perfect condition. For collectors, owning a high-quality 1982 no-mint mark penny is like holding a tangible piece of American history. Real-world examples of value illustrate this point. On online auction sites and specialized coin auctions, a well-preserved 1982 no-mint mark copper penny can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on condition. Even circulated coins with minimal wear can attract attention from serious collectors, while coins with minting errors or pristine surfaces have been known to reach values well above standard market expectations. One notable auction recorded a 1982 no-mint mark copper penny in near-perfect condition, selling for over $2,000, a remarkable sum for what many would consider spare change. Identifying a genuine 1982 no-mint mark penny requires careful observation. First, look at the weight. Copper pennies are heavier than their zinc counterparts. You can also check for color differences. Copper coins have a richer, reddish tone, while zinc coins tend to be paler. A magnifying glass can help reveal subtle details in the strike and inscriptions, and using a reputable coin guide or database can confirm authenticity. For serious collectors, professional grading by a recognized coin service ensures that a coin is genuine and accurately assessed for market value. Avoid buying from unverified sources, as counterfeit or altered coins can appear convincing at first glance. There are also some fun and surprising details about the 1982 penny. For example, it is one of the few years in U.S. coin history where a single year produced two distinct types of a coin, one copper and one zinc, without a change in design. This makes it a natural point of interest for collectors who enjoy studying variations and anomalies. Another interesting fact is that some 1982 pennies circulated alongside much older pennies, meaning that at any moment, a collector could stumble upon a coin nearly 80 years old in everyday change, blurring the line between mundane and rare. Collectors love the 1982 no-mint mark penny for several reasons. It represents a moment of transition in American coinage, bridging the era of copper pennies and the modern zinc-based cents. Its scarcity, combined with the potential for high-value copper examples, makes it a coin that carries both historical significance and financial interest. Unlike some older coins that require specialized knowledge to appreciate, the 1982 penny is accessible. It may already be sitting in someone's pocket, drawer, or jar of coins, waiting to be discovered. The thrill of potentially holding a rare coin in your hand is part of what makes collecting so captivating. In today's market, interest in the 1982 no-mint mark penny remains steady. Auction houses and private collectors actively seek out high-quality specimens, and coins with unique characteristics or errors can fetch premium prices. Even for casual collectors, owning one is a way to connect with history, to appreciate the subtle changes in American currency, and to engage in a hobby that combines education, strategy, and excitement. So the next time you come across a penny, pause for a moment. Look closely. That ordinary coin in your pocket could have a story to tell, a secret value hidden beneath its familiar surface. The 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny reminds us that history is not only found in textbooks or museums. It can be in our hands, small, simple, and waiting for discovery. What treasures might you be overlooking in your own collection? The answer may be closer than you think. Imagine holding a tiny piece of history in the palm of your hand, a coin so ordinary that millions were minted, yet hiding secrets that could make it worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving into one of America's most intriguing small treasures, the 1985 D-Mint mark Lincoln penny. At first glance, it's just a penny, familiar and everyday, but for collectors, this small coin can tell a story of rarity, mistakes, and unexpected value. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909, is one of the most widely recognized coins in American history. Abraham Lincoln's profile has graced the obverse of this coin for over a century, symbolizing honesty, perseverance, and the enduring legacy of the 16th president. By 1985, the penny had long been made primarily of copper, but that year marked a period when subtle changes in production and minting quality created coins that could become highly sought after by collectors. The 1985 D penny, minted in Denver, is one of those coins that quietly captured the attention of the numismatic world. To understand its significance, we need to consider the context of 1985. The United States Mint was producing billions of pennies each year to meet everyday circulation needs. The Lincoln cent had already gone through several design changes, including the transition from the original wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. By the mid-1980s, the penny was a familiar fixture in wallets and cash registers. Yet the subtle details in design and production that year created opportunities for rare errors to emerge. The 1985 D penny is part of this story. What sets the 1985 D mint mark Lincoln penny apart begins with its physical characteristics. Like most pennies of its time, it was composed primarily of copper, with a small amount of zinc. Its obverse featured the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, and the reverse displayed the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The D mint mark, a small letter located beneath the date, tells us it was struck in Denver. For most collectors, this mint mark is a minor detail. But in 1985, the Denver Mint produced a small number of coins that exhibit unusual features, making them highly collectible. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1985 D penny is the presence of errors. Some coins show what numismatists call die cracks, or doubled dies, where the design appears slightly doubled or raised in certain areas. These errors occur during the minting process when the metal is struck, and the die that impresses the design is slightly misaligned or damaged. While most pennies are flawless, these errors create uniqueness. A coin that looks nearly identical to every other penny in circulation suddenly becomes a rare collector's item, valued far beyond its 1 cent face value. Collectors actively search for these anomalies because they can dramatically increase the coin's market value. So why is the 1985 D penny considered rare or valuable? The key lies in both its minting anomalies and its condition. While millions of 1985 pennies were produced, only a fraction exhibit these error characteristics. Coins with strong strikes, clear mint marks, and any unusual die errors can fetch hundreds of dollars at auction, especially in high grades. Even minor variations, like a doubled die or a slight die crack, are enough to separate a common penny from a potentially life-changing collectible. The rarity is not about the coin being old, but about it being an unusual example of a common coin. Real-world examples highlight the potential value of this coin. In recent auctions and collector sales, certain 1985 D Lincoln pennies with noticeable die errors have sold for several $100s. Coins in near-perfect condition, graded by professional numismatic services as MS65 or higher, can command prices approaching or even exceeding $1,000. Imagine that. A coin that would normally be overlooked on the counter could, in the right hands, be worth more than a week's paycheck. These values are not just theoretical. They are verified through verified auction records and private sales among collectors who recognize the coin's significance. For anyone hoping to identify a genuine 1985 D penny versus a fake or altered coin, attention to detail is critical. First, examine the mint mark carefully. The D should be clearly stamped beneath the date. Look for doubling, raised lines, or unusual shapes in the numerals or lettering, especially around the date in Lincoln's profile. Genuine die errors are subtle and consistent, whereas counterfeit or altered coins often show signs of tampering, such as uneven surfaces or unnatural scratches. Consulting a reputable coin dealer or using professional grading services can provide certainty, ensuring you don't overpay for a common penny disguised as a rare error. Beyond its rarity and potential value, the 1985 D penny carries a host of fun and surprising details. Did you know that this year was on the cusp of a major change in penny composition? Within a few years, the mint would switch primarily to zinc cores with thin copper plating, making these all-copper coins a nostalgic and tangible reminder of the era. Additionally, some 1985 D pennies display slight variations in color and tone, ranging from deep reddish brown to bright copper, adding to their charm and individuality. Collectors often delight in hunting for the most visually striking examples, turning a simple coin into a miniature work of art. Collectors love the 1985 Lincoln penny not just for its monetary value, but for the story it tells. Every scratch, every subtle die crack, is a reminder of the intricate processes that bring coins to life. For numismatists, holding one is a connection to the past, to the mint workers who struck it, and to the countless hands through which it has passed. Its appeal is both emotional and financial, a combination that keeps collectors returning to their coin albums, hunting through rolls, and scouring auctions for that one elusive example that stands out from the rest. Even for casual enthusiasts, the 1985 penny sparks curiosity. It is a reminder that ordinary objects can hold extraordinary secrets. The next time you find a penny on the sidewalk or in a jar at home, consider this. A coin minted in Denver over 35 years ago, overlooked by most, could be hiding an error that transforms it from pocket change into a prized collectible. The thrill of discovery, the possibility of uncovering a hidden gem, is what makes coins like the 1985 Lincoln penny endlessly fascinating. So whether you're a seasoned collector or someone simply intrigued by history, the 1985 penny invites you to look closer. Examine it, compare it, and imagine the journey it has taken from the Denver Mint to your hand. In a world full of ordinary objects, it's remarkable how a single, small coin can hold stories, value, and mystery all at once. Keep an eye on your change. You never know when you might stumble upon a coin that has quietly been waiting decades to reveal its secrets. The story of the 1985 Lincoln penny is not just about numbers or auctions. It's about curiosity, history, and the joy of discovery. It reminds us that even the most familiar objects can hold extraordinary tales, and that careful observation can turn something as simple as a penny into a treasure. And as you explore the world of coins, remember that the smallest details can carry the biggest surprises. One day, the ordinary penny in your hand might just be the extraordinary find that changes everything. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that millions of people walked past every day, unaware that it could be worth a small fortune. A coin so ordinary at first glance, yet it carries a hidden story of rarity and value that could change the way you see your loose change forever. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing and often overlooked coins in American numismatics, the 1987 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. By the end of this video, you might never look at pennies the same way again. The 1987 Lincoln penny is part of a long-standing tradition that began over a century earlier. Abraham Lincoln, one of America's most celebrated presidents, has graced the 1-cent coin since 1909, commemorating the centennial of his birth. By 1987, the Lincoln penny had become a staple of American currency, familiar to everyone from schoolchildren to business people. But among these millions of coins, a very small number have captured the attention of collectors and investors alike. The 1987 no mint mark penny. To understand why this coin is so intriguing, it helps to know a little history. In 1987, pennies were primarily produced at two United States mint facilities, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins struck in Denver carry the D mint mark, while Philadelphia coins from this era often carry no mint mark at all. Normally, the absence of a mint mark is expected on a Philadelphia coin, but what makes certain 1987 pennies so special is a subtle production anomaly. During mass coin production, small errors can occur. In rare cases, pennies were struck with unusual characteristics that distinguish them from the standard issues, creating a scarcity that collectors immediately notice. Let's talk about the coin itself. The 1987 Lincoln penny is composed of a copper-plated zinc alloy, a composition introduced in 1982 to replace the previous solid copper pennies. The coin measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter and weighs about 2.5 grams. On the obverse, or front side, it features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been in use since 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. What sets certain 1987 pennies apart are the small production quirks, slightly doubled letters, minor die cracks, or unexpected variations in the metal's coloring that can make an otherwise common coin surprisingly collectible. So why is this particular 1987 penny considered rare or valuable? The main factor is scarcity combined with collector interest. While millions of pennies were minted that year, only a fraction show notable anomalies that make them worth more than face value. Coins that exhibit these unusual traits can attract significant attention at auctions and from private collectors. A standard 1987 penny might be worth just a few cents, but an error coin in excellent condition can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the severity of the anomaly and its appeal to collectors. Real-world examples show just how interesting the market can be. In recent years, certain 1987 pennies with noticeable die errors or exceptional condition have sold online for hundreds of dollars. Some of the most sought-after specimens, those with striking anomalies or near-perfect mint state grading, have occasionally approached or exceeded $1,000. While these high-end sales are rare, they highlight the principle that even a coin you might find in a jar of change can suddenly become a valuable asset if it has the right characteristics. If you're wondering how to identify a real 1987 no mint mark penny worth attention, start with a careful visual inspection. Look at the date and mint mark area. Even the smallest irregularities in lettering or spacing can indicate a collectible anomaly. Examine the surface for unusual coloring or raised lines, and check the edges for signs of improper striking. A magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe can reveal details invisible to the naked eye. And remember, condition matters. Coins that are free from scratches, corrosion, or wear are far more desirable than those that have seen heavy circulation. While fakes exist, they are usually easy to spot for a careful observer, especially when comparing with verified reference images or consulting a professional grading service. Beyond its monetary value, the 1987 Lincoln penny holds some fun and surprising facts. Did you know that 1987 was the year the United States saw a surge in penny production due to rising demand for small change in vending machines and transit systems? That high-volume production makes anomalies even more noticeable because they stand out against the millions of ordinary coins. Another interesting point is that the Lincoln penny design itself has remained virtually unchanged on the obverse for over a century, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in the world. That continuity adds a layer of historical significance to even small variations or errors. Collectors are drawn to this coin today not just for potential financial gain, but for its story and its place in American history. The Lincoln penny represents more than just currency. It represents the evolution of minting technology, the careful balance between mass production and artistry, and the thrill of discovering something rare in the most common of places. Owning a rare 1987 penny is a way to connect with both history and the vibrant community of collectors who appreciate these small treasures. In the end, the 1987 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a reminder that value is often hidden in plain sight. You might pass it on the sidewalk, see it in your pocket change, or find it in a family collection without ever realizing the story it carries. Its rarity comes not from the coin itself, but from the subtle differences that make it unique, the errors that escape notice during production, and the eyes of collectors who recognize its significance. So next time you reach into a jar of pennies, take a moment to look closely. One of those ordinary coins might just be extraordinary, holding a story that spans decades and a value that could surprise you. The 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is more than a coin. It's a piece of history waiting to be discovered. And who knows? The next rare coin in your collection might already be in your pocket, quietly waiting for the right moment to reveal its hidden worth. Every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth more than we ever imagined. Keep your eyes open, and perhaps one day, the ordinary pennies you once overlooked will become extraordinary. The journey from everyday change to collector's treasure starts with curiosity, and the 1987 Lincoln penny might be the perfect place to begin. Imagine holding a coin so ordinary at first glance, yet quietly hiding a story that could change the way you see your pocket change forever. Today, we're diving into one of America's most intriguing collectibles, the 1996 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. On the surface, it may look like any other penny you find in your change, but for collectors and coin enthusiasts, this small piece of copper and zinc carries a story worth uncovering. The 1996 D Lincoln penny is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series, a staple of American currency since 1909. The D stands for the Denver Mint, where millions of these coins were produced each year. While the average penny might seem unremarkable, the 1996 D has captured the attention of collectors because of its specific characteristics, small variations, and in some cases, hidden errors that can make it more valuable than its face value suggests. To understand why this penny matters, it helps to know a little history. The Lincoln cent was first introduced to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. By 1996, the coin had already been in circulation for almost 9 decades, and its design had evolved subtly over the years. The obverse features Lincoln's profile, still designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that has endured through generations. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial graces the coin, a feature introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The 1996 D is one of the standard coins minted that year, but within its production, collectors have found varieties that are quite fascinating. The metal composition of the 1996 D Lincoln penny is primarily copper-plated zinc. Since 1982, pennies have been made this way to reduce production costs, with 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper coating. This change in composition is important because it affects the coin's weight, color, and even its appeal to collectors. The coin weighs just 2.5 grams, making it lighter than pennies struck before 1982. Its design, like every Lincoln cent, is simple but iconic. Lincoln's bust facing right, the words "In God We Trust" above, liberty to the left, and the year with the mint mark below. What makes the 1996 D penny especially intriguing are the subtle features and known errors that can appear. Certain coins from this year display doubling on the date or the mint mark, a phenomenon known as double die. Some coins also show variations in strike quality or minor imperfections caused during minting. While these may seem insignificant, collectors prize these anomalies because they are rare and often command higher prices in the market. Even minor differences in font, spacing, or the sharpness of Lincoln's profile can make one penny stand out from millions of others minted that year. The rarity and potential value of the 1996 D Lincoln penny come from these exact anomalies. While a typical 1996 D penny is worth only its face value, those with unusual features, minting errors, or pristine uncirculated condition can be worth significantly more. Coins graded in near-perfect condition, especially by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, can fetch hundreds of dollars at auctions. Some of the most notable sales have included uncirculated or proof coins with sharp details and no signs of wear, which collectors are willing to pay a premium for. For example, A 1996 D penny in M-65 or higher condition, exhibiting exceptional luster and detail, has been known to sell for around $20 to $50. But when you factor in rare varieties, such as double dies or coins with die cracks, values can climb even higher, sometimes reaching several $100s among serious collectors. These examples highlight the importance of condition, variety, and authenticity when determining a coin's true value. Identifying a genuine 1996 D Lincoln penny is crucial for collectors. The first step is to check the mint mark, the small d located just below the date. This confirms the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Next, examining the coin for obvious wear, discoloration, or signs of tampering is essential. Many fakes exist, often made to mimic rare varieties, so a magnifying glass or loupe can help inspect details like doubling, die cracks, or sharpness in Lincoln's features. Professional grading can also give peace of mind, as it certifies authenticity and condition, both of which are vital when buying or selling rare coins. Despite its small size, the 1996 D penny has some fun and surprising aspects that make it more than just a piece of metal. For instance, collectors often enjoy spotting minor variations in coins from this year, because it connects them to the history of the Denver Mint and the meticulous process of coin production. Additionally, these pennies serve as a snapshot of American culture in the mid-1990s, a time when cash was still king, and digital transactions were just beginning to emerge. Finding a rare variation in your pocket change can feel like discovering a hidden treasure from the past, a tangible link to history that is both personal and collectible. Collectors love the 1996 D Lincoln penny today because it represents the blend of everyday life and hidden value. While many coins circulate unnoticed in wallets and jars, the possibility of owning a rare or rarer variety adds excitement to the simple act of collecting. Coins from the 1990s are old enough to have been passed down through families, yet recent enough that their history and context are still recognizable. This creates a unique charm and accessibility for collectors of all levels, whether they are seasoned numismatists or newcomers searching through spare change. In addition, the coin's enduring design resonates with many collectors. Lincoln's portrait, the inscriptions, and the memorial on the reverse all carry historical significance, reminding Americans of the values and legacy associated with this currency. The 1996 D penny may not be the rarest coin in the world, but it occupies a sweet spot where familiarity meets the thrill of discovery. Its subtle variations, potential errors, and the chance to own a piece of history in excellent condition make it a favorite among collectors seeking both enjoyment and investment potential. So the next time you reach into your pocket or check the bottom of a coin jar, remember this. Among the ordinary change, there could be a 1996 D Lincoln penny hiding quietly, waiting for someone to notice its story. Whether it's a rare double die, an uncirculated gem, or simply a connection to a moment in history, this small coin carries a legacy that goes far beyond its 1 cent face value. Keep your eyes open, because the ordinary often hides extraordinary surprises, and the story of a single penny can sometimes lead to a remarkable discovery. Every coin has a tale, and the 1996 D Lincoln penny proves that even the most common objects can hold secrets worth exploring. From its place in history to its unique features and potential market value, this penny is more than just money. It's a piece of the American story, a challenge for collectors, and a reminder that curiosity often leads to the most rewarding discoveries. Whether you are sorting through a jar of change or scanning a coin album, remember, somewhere out there, a 1996 D Lincoln penny may be waiting to reveal its hidden treasure to the right person. Keep looking, because the next coin you hold could tell a story worth far more than its small copper and zinc face. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand and realizing it could be worth thousands of dollars. It sounds impossible, right? But for certain coins, Rarity and small errors can turn something ordinary into an extraordinary collector's treasure. One such coin that has captured the attention of collectors across the country is the 2000 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it may look like a common coin, yet hidden within its small copper surface lies a story of rarity, history, and value that makes it truly remarkable. The 2000 Lincoln penny is part of the long-running series of 1-cent coins featuring Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This design, originally introduced in 1909 to celebrate the centennial of Lincoln's birth, has become one of the most iconic symbols of American currency. By the year 2000, millions of pennies were being produced each year, but not all of them were exactly the same. While most pennies carry a mint mark, like a small D for Denver or S for San Francisco, a very small number of pennies were struck without any mark at all. These are what make this particular coin so intriguing to collectors. The year 2000 was an important time for the U.S. Mint. At the turn of the millennium, the Mint was experimenting with higher production speeds and new techniques to meet growing demand. This was the second year in a row that the Lincoln penny was made with a predominantly copper-plated zinc composition, rather than the older solid copper format. Each penny was 97.5% zinc with a thin copper coating, a change that had been introduced in 1982 to reduce costs. Most coins produced were carefully marked with the appropriate mint symbol, but occasionally, a penny would slip through the production process without the mark. This small error would make it stand out to collectors decades later. What makes the 2000 no mint mark Lincoln penny unique is, quite simply, its rarity. Millions of pennies were minted in 2000, but the vast majority carry either a D or P mint mark. Only a tiny fraction were struck without any identifying symbol, making them extremely hard to find in circulation. This scarcity is what drives the value of these coins today. Unlike classic rarities that are over 100 years old, the 2000 penny is a modern coin. Yet, the allure of finding a contemporary coin with an unusual feature is irresistible to collectors who understand that rarity isn't just about age. It's about how few examples exist. Physically, the coin is identical to a standard 2000 penny. On the front, or obverse, it displays Abraham Lincoln's portrait, a design that has remained largely unchanged for more than a century. Lincoln faces right, with the word liberty to the left and the year 2000 to the right. Typically, the mint mark would sit just beneath the year, but in this rare version, that space is completely empty. On the reverse, the coin features the Lincoln Memorial, a familiar sight to anyone who has handled a modern penny. The coin's metal composition gives it a slightly reddish hue, though over time, some coins may develop darker patinas depending on their environment. Collectors value this coin for several reasons. First, it is an example of a modern mint error. Coins without mint marks are rare because modern production is highly controlled, making mistakes uncommon. Second, it represents a tangible link to the history of coin production at the turn of the millennium, a period when the U.S. Mint was transitioning to faster and more automated processes. And third, it offers an accessible entry point for collectors who are interested in errors and varieties, without the prohibitive costs of older, centuries-old rarities. Market value for the 2000 no mint mark penny varies depending on condition. A well-circulated coin might fetch a few $100s, while coins in pristine, uncirculated condition can command several thousand. For example, in recent years, a 2000 no mint mark penny graded as M-65 by professional grading services sold at auction for over $3,000. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that are verified as genuine, which highlights the importance of authentication in the modern coin market. Identifying a genuine 2000 no mint mark penny requires careful inspection. The first step is to check the area beneath the year for the absence of a mint mark. This space should be completely blank, not lightly stamped or partially visible. Next, examine the coin's overall design. Genuine coins have sharp details in Lincoln's portrait and the Lincoln Memorial, while counterfeit or altered coins may show inconsistencies or signs of tampering. If in doubt, collectors often turn to professional grading services, which can confirm authenticity and provide a condition grade that affects value. An interesting detail about these coins is how easily they can be missed. Because the no mint mark version is so similar to standard pennies, many remain unnoticed in rolls of change or coin collections. Some collectors have discovered valuable examples in jars of loose coins saved over years, highlighting the thrill of the hunt. Even though it was minted in the year 2000, a coin could sit unnoticed for decades before someone realizes its significance. Another fascinating aspect is how modern mint errors are part of a long tradition. Throughout U.S. history, accidental omissions or variations have captured the attention of numismatists. From doubled dies to misstrikes, every anomaly tells a story about the coin-making process, the people who made them, and the historical context in which they were produced. The 2000 no mint mark penny is a continuation of this tradition, proving that even contemporary coins can become historical artifacts in the eyes of collectors. Collectors love this coin today not just for its monetary value, but for the story it represents. Holding one connects you to the history of Lincoln, the intricacies of coin production, and the excitement of discovery. It is a reminder that treasure can exist in everyday objects, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize it. For many, finding a 2000 no mint mark penny is a testament to patience, knowledge, and the thrill of collecting something rare and beautiful. Even more surprising is the potential for future value. As time passes, coins like this become harder to find, especially in uncirculated condition. What was once a modern penny could one day be considered a historical rarity worth far more than anyone imagines today. Each coin is a small piece of history, carrying the story of a president, a nation, and the subtle quirks of a minting process that almost never made mistakes. So next time you handle a penny, take a closer look. Among the millions of ordinary coins, a rare treasure could be hiding in plain sight. The 2000 no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a connection to history, a symbol of rarity, and a source of excitement for collectors who understand that the smallest objects can hold the greatest value. Perhaps somewhere, in a jar of forgotten coins or a dusty drawer, a modern penny waits quietly to make someone's day extraordinary. The journey of this coin doesn't end with discovery. It's about curiosity, attention, and the thrill of uncovering something rare in the most ordinary places. Whether you are a seasoned collector or simply someone intrigued by hidden treasures, the 2000 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a reminder that history and value often come in the smallest packages. And sometimes, the most remarkable finds are right under our noses. Keep looking closely, because the next time you glance at a simple penny, you might just be holding a modern miracle in your hand. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, so ordinary at first glance, yet hiding a story that could surprise even the most seasoned collectors. A small, copper-plated disc, easily overlooked in a jar of spare change, yet it carries history, design, and in some cases, remarkable value. Today, we explore one of America's everyday treasures with a twist, the 2006 D mint mark Lincoln penny. What makes this penny more than just money? What secrets might it hold for collectors and coin enthusiasts? The answers may change the way you look at your loose change forever. The 2006 D mint mark Lincoln penny is one of the many coins struck in Philadelphia and Denver during the Lincoln Cent series, which has been in production since 1909. This particular coin, minted in Denver, carries the D mint mark just below the year, signaling its origin. To the casual observer, it might seem like any other penny, but for collectors, subtle details distinguish it as a coin worth examining closely. The Lincoln penny itself is more than a small copper disc. It is a tribute to the 16th President of the United States Abraham Lincoln, whose face has graced the obverse of this coin for over a century. The 2006 D penny is part of the modern Lincoln cent series, produced during an era when the U.S. Mint was refining production techniques and experimenting with different metal compositions. This was a time when pennies were predominantly made from copper-plated zinc, a shift that had occurred in 1982 to reduce production costs while maintaining durability and a familiar copper appearance. In 2006, the United States Mint produced billions of pennies, a reflection of both ongoing demand and the economy's reliance on small change. But even in a sea of coins, small variations can make certain pieces rare or sought after. The 2006 D penny isn't a rare coin in the traditional sense, like a 1909 VDB or a 1955 double die, but it has qualities that can surprise collectors who know what to look for. Errors, unusual markings, or even coins in pristine condition can carry a value far beyond their face value. The design of the 2006 D Lincoln penny continues the familiar motifs. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's profile faces right, capturing the dignity and determination of a man who led a nation through its most turbulent time. The inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2006 frame his image with understated elegance. On the reverse, the familiar Lincoln Memorial dominates, a nod to the monument completed in 1922, honoring the very man depicted on the front. The tiny details, the pillars of the memorial, the stairs leading up to it, even the statue inside, are all carefully reproduced in miniature form. These details are what numismatists call the coin's fineness of strike, and they play a role in a coin's overall collectability. Beyond the design, the coin's material composition is significant. By 2006, the Lincoln penny was primarily made of 97.5% zinc, coated with a thin layer of copper. This composition affects not only the coin's weight and feel, but also its long-term preservation. Copper gives the coin its warm, familiar color, but zinc underneath can react differently over time, especially if the coin is exposed to moisture or harsh handling. Coins that maintain a flawless copper surface from 2006 can be surprisingly attractive to collectors, even if they are relatively recent. One of the intriguing aspects of the 2006 D Lincoln penny is the potential for errors. While it may not have the dramatic double dies or missing mint marks of older coins, minor minting mistakes can and do occur. Slight off-center strikes, weak lettering, or tiny planchet imperfections may be present in some 2006 D coins. These subtle variations are what keep collectors searching through rolls and boxes, hoping to find that one coin that stands out. Even a minor error, if it is distinctive and verified, can increase the value of a coin from a penny to dozens or even hundreds of dollars. So why might this coin be of interest today? For starters, collectors look for condition above all else. A 2006 D penny in circulation, showing typical wear from daily use, is unlikely to command more than a few cents above face value. But a coin in mint state, untouched and brilliant, is a different story. Professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC assign numerical grades that reflect a coin's condition, from well-worn to pristine. A high-grade 2006 D penny, free of scratches, discoloration, or handling marks, can appeal to collectors assembling complete Lincoln cent sets or modern mint-state collections. To illustrate, there have been recorded sales of pristine 2006 D pennies graded at M-67 or higher that fetched between $5 and $20 each. That may not seem dramatic compared to rare historic pennies, but for a coin that originally cost 1 cent, it represents an impressive return. The true thrill comes from finding one of these high-grade coins tucked away unnoticed in a drawer, a pocket, or a jar of spare change. Even small imperfections can make a difference, so careful observation is key. Identifying a real 2006 D penny is relatively straightforward, yet still requires attention. First, check the mint mark below the year. A genuine D indicates it was struck in Denver. Examine the coin's weight and diameter, which should align with standard Lincoln penny specifications, approximately 2.5 grams and 19 millimeters in diameter. Look closely at the design details, particularly Lincoln's profile and the memorial on the back. Any significant deviations may signal a counterfeit or altered coin, though modern counterfeits are rare. If the coin appears unusually shiny or the color seems off, a professional grading or authentication service can provide certainty. Fun facts also make this coin more intriguing. For example, 2006 marked a period just before the mint introduced new reverse designs in 2009 for the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth. Collectors interested in the full story of Lincoln pennies view the 2006 D as part of the transition into modern commemorative designs. Another surprising detail is that despite billions minted, some rolls from the Denver Mint in 2006 remain unopened or partially circulated, offering opportunities for coin hunters to find pristine examples even today. Collectors love this coin not because it is the rarest penny in American history, but because it represents a bridge between tradition and modernity. It is accessible, yet still rewarding to study and preserve. Its story is ongoing, inviting new generations to participate in the hobby, to appreciate the artistry of coin design, and to imagine the hands that will hold it decades from now. The thrill of discovery, the joy of spotting a high-grade specimen, and the subtle variations that can make a coin unique are what keep people returning to the Lincoln Cent series year after year. Even as you look around your home, spare change might be hiding treasures you've never noticed. The 2006 D Lincoln penny reminds us that history can be found in small, everyday objects, and that careful attention can turn something ordinary into something extraordinary. The next time you reach for a coin at a cash register or in a jar on your desk, consider the story it carries, the design etched in miniature, and the possibility that it might be worth more than its face value. There is always a chance that among your coins lies a gem waiting to be discovered, a reminder that history and value often hide in plain sight. So, what will you do next time you see a penny? Will you spend it, or will you look closer, appreciating the details, the history, and the subtle hints of rarity that may be waiting for you? The 2006 D Lincoln penny is more than just currency. It's a small piece of Americana, a collectible, and a testament to the enduring fascination of coins. In every coin lies a story, and in every story, the possibility of discovery. Keep your eyes open, because the next extraordinary coin could be closer than you think.